In this video, we're going to look at how help works in the sample application. You'll see help up here. If I tap on it, if there's more, it gets bigger, a little bigger, a little higher, and goes down over the section below it. It's floating up here on top, and I can tap here or anywhere else and it will close. Not everything has a more. If there's no more, then tapping on it doesn't do anything. But optionally you can have that. Things are centered within this. This is a certain size. In the case here where the VIN can be quite large, this actually is smaller than the other side. This is when there's a large type in area. So let me show you how we handle all of that stuff. So look at the design, and of course everything has help, which you can look at by tapping on help. So the top of the screen, where it has some menu items up there, the open, etc., and the name automobile condition, that's in the panel header of this. Then there is the main panel layout, which is inside, and that consists of the editing area at the top where all the editors sit, and you see the type in line and stuff like that, and then the area underneath where the forms are. And we want to be able to put the help on top of that, so the help is actually within the main panel layout, which has those two panels in it. There's a panel overlay for editor help and another one for editor long help, and these panel overlays are on top of what's below, and they're also on top of the editors themselves because of the order in which this is done. So if you look at it, you'll see that there's editor help. Within it is a container, which is the editor help text, and then there's the long help and the long help text, and a button below that, which is that close button. So if we look at it, if we go here, we can see that it starts out not being displayed, so there's nothing to show as the style. But let's look at the class. It's editor help. So we'll bring up the class name, and I'll edit the local CSS, and I'll go here and I'll look for help, and you can see editor help. So here's editor help, and here's the CSS definition. Well, first of all, the help is positioned absolutely, and that absolute has a top that's 28 pixels from the top and of that part of the screen, and 88 pixels in on the left. This was something chosen by the designer, and it has a width of 218 pixels, so that's how big it is over there. And there's a border around it, and it's white. It has a border, and if the entire panel or whatever is set to wide type in line, so wide type in line, then the width is set to, instead of 218, to 170. So if the right thing sets it to that, which you'll see in a minute how we do that, then it gets smaller automatically. These are generic and used for the entire application because all of the fields make use of the help. So help text is displayed like a table cell. A table cell is kind of like a normal div, but it allows vertical alignment in the middle, which is what the designer wanted, so that if the text is there, it shows up in the middle. Often we could do this just by making the line height for a one line be the whole height, and that would get centered in the middle usually. But in this case, there can be multiple lines, and we want whatever's there, one line or more, to be centered. So this uses vertical line middle, text align left. The font size is this, the color is this. These were specified by designer. You can copy them, the line height, and some padding around it. And the height is explicitly 32 pixels. If it has the word more, then we have a way here of setting the color to be blue, which is a color that's set up at the top with SAS, and you'll have to look at other videos about how to use SAS, but it basically lets us use the equivalent of variables in CSS. So long help is similarly but positioned a little higher up, same position on the left, the same width, but it you'll see that its height has a minimum height of 42 to make it big enough, and then it can actually grow longer if the text makes it inside of it makes it take up longer. So these are the settings for that. So basically that positions them at the right place on the screen. So now let's look at the editor set. When an editor set, any of the editor sets are put up, the show JavaScript, if we look at it, this is some standard stuff that you get when you use some of the built-in building. It sets the title. This has been modified here for this particular case. It picks up the title settings. If it's there, if it's not, it uses the column name to set title. But we're not going to worry about title. That's a separate thing. Let's look at the help text. This gets the help text from the settings. If the help text is undefined, then it just makes it blank. And if there is a settings called long help text, which I'll show you later, if the user defined that, then we'll automatically add to the help text a non-breaking space, a plain space, and then this span, which will add the color. Remember, this is a blue color for this class of the word more ... And that's how we get automatically adding more if there is more help. Then we get a pointer to the help text, which was down there, if you remember, was the help text. It's set to display as block, which means visible, and the text inside of it is set to the help text, the inner HTML. So this is considered to be an HTML, so you can actually mark it up with bracket something or whatever. You can make it italic or whatever you wanted, or color, add colors. And then help, if the help text, if there is no help text, then that entire container is set to none, display none. Otherwise, it's set to block, so it's now visible. We're always going to hide the long help, but we're going to set it so that we hide the long help by setting its display type to none, display style to none. And the long help text, we see if it has text or it's blank, we set that for the inner HTML. We don't have to add any more at the end. There's a button automatically after it all the time. And then we get a pointer to the whole navigator body, which is a container in which the help, both the helps sit. And if there's a setting for wide type inline, then we add the class name with $ACN of that element of wide type inline. If not, we remove it in case it's there. And that's what makes it smaller. With a wide type inline, you end up with a smaller help. In this case, that's how we handle it. So basically what it's doing is it's loading the help and loading the help text and then hiding the help text, showing the help. And when you do the hide JavaScript, it just hides both of them. So now let's look at editor help. The editor help on this entire container has a click event handler, and if you click on it, then it gets long help text, If there's nothing in the long help text, then it returns. There's nothing to show, so don't do anything if you tap on it. Otherwise, hide the current help with the main help, editor help, set its style display to none, and the editor long help set its style for display to block, which means show it as a normal div. There's nothing over here. For long help, we put the event on the text itself. This is sort of the opposite. It shows the help and hides the long help instead of the opposite. And there's a button over here, and this button does the same thing. It shows the main help, the short help, and hides the long help. And this button is an image only button. It's the full width. It's 100% wide and 44 high. And you'll notice that the image name comes from the an icon font, the CS using CSS, and it's the up arrow. We're using the up arrow for close in this case to sort of close it. Okay, then finally, let's look at how we get this. Here, if we go to the form view for that one we were just looking at, and we look at the inspection date, it has in for inspection date their editor settings. The help text in the editor is here, enter the date when the inspection took place. And then there's user-defined editor and template settings. Let's look at that. And we have long help text. And if you look at it, you see that it is a lot of text here, which includes some HTML, 2 carriage returns basically, to make up what you're going to see. If you look at, for example, the owner phone number, it has some other settings, but it does not have a setting for help, for the long help, so that you have no long help. And if we look at the VIN, we see over here that in addition that it doesn't have any long help, but wide type in line is set to true. So that's basically how it's done. And if we look at it again, we see help shown over here that was picked up. If I tap on it, it goes big. There's a button down here, etc. It's smaller, etc. So that's how the help is done. It goes over on top. Thank you very much.